I write my mail in green or blue. You know why? Because people are so used to have black and white. Black and white.
When you're like dealing with people, we're on different frequencies.
In the virtual space, sometimes we don't have the perception of what we have.
Under the rug, like no one can see that mess, but it's there.
Virtual declutter, we should cut the cords with the past.
I'll tell you something personal. My private laptop, so when I use it and I open it, like there is a picture of a really beautiful crown.
Every time you accept someone, you follow someone, you comment someone, you share your energy.
What memories do I have from one day that I spent scrolling online or talking to someone online? Welcome back to Inside and Out. I'm your host, Inara. In a previous episode, we had Cristiano Falconi with us, where he shared his insights on the best Feng Shui practices. Today, he's back to discuss the virtual aspect of those practices. We're going to explore how we can apply those principles to declutter our digital spaces and create a more serene virtual environment. So if you're looking to tidy up your online life or just want to learn more about blending these ideas, you're in for a treat. Let's get started. Welcome, Cristiano.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me again.
It's been a pleasure, and I loved our first episode, and I think our viewers and listeners loved it. So I had a really good feedback. And I'm glad we organized the second session already.
Thank you, and I'm really honored to be here with you again in this beautiful place.
Thank you so much. So we're going to talk today about virtual decluttering. So Feng Shui when it comes to virtual spaces. So my first question is, what is a sanctuary in virtual spaces?
So in virtual spaces, sanctuary is basically a state of mind. So when you can feel that you are in peace with yourself and you are in peace with your mind. Mm-hmm. So this happens when your life is under control. This means that your space is under control, but also your laptop is under control, your phone, and you know exactly how to manage and how to deal with all the tools that you have around you.
Okay. For some reason, it seems more challenging to manage our virtual spaces compared to physical spaces. Why
yes,
is that?
Definitely. Because a normal spaces, basically, you know exactly there is a chair, there is a table, there is a book. In the virtual space, sometimes we don't have the perception of what we have. And we don't know how this virtual clutter affects our mind and our daily life, and in somehow also our vibration.
Yeah.
So it's essential to start slowly to declutter it in a smart way in order to create a virtual space that can enhance every of our energy and can attract new stuff as well, new opportunities.
Yeah. Because actually, most of the time, we're not conscious of it. Because the physical spaces, we're kind of more conscious because we see them.
Exactly.
Physically, like we see that we have these things that we need to organize, etc. However, when it comes to virtual spaces, they're a bit more like under the rug, like no one can see that mess, but it's there. It doesn't mean that it's not. And I'm sure it does affect our productivity, probably, or the way we manage our daily tasks, or even our mental, let's say, peace of mind, because we have these things in the back of our minds that we haven't taken care of.
So the virtual space affects us in two different levels. So one, it's heavy for us to handle sometimes because we go in our box mail and it's plenty of spam and advertising. So we lose time to find the right mail and the right documents. And second, it affects us on our mood because sometimes we get in touch with pictures or documents or mails that belongs to the past. Mm-hmm. And that affect us in the sense that they stop a little bit our energy and remind us something not so positive or not so happy. So it's essential when we start decluttering the virtual space to keep only pictures and documents and mails that linked with positive vibration, with positive moments, with positive past memories.
Okay, so I have a question when it comes to this, because in my private life, I've seen people or couples actually having issues when it comes to, what to save, like in terms of photos or memories, photos or videos related to their memories with their past partners or, pictures of their exes and things like that.
Exactly.
And it does create a lot of problems, and people don't know what to do because there's no rule as such as to how to handle them. And some of them, like you mentioned, they carry their own energy, and sometimes, and I've seen it, that it does create some tension sometimes, and I'm talking like for couples and relationships, but it definitely could create some issues when it comes to other types of relationships or conditions.
Definitely, because with virtual declutter, we should cut the cords with the past. So I don't want to say that we need to cancel our memories, no. But for instance, we can create a file now on our computer with the memories linked with a previous relationship. Maybe it was not so bad, but it ended for some reason. And so we can create a virtual space where we can store our memories, our past relationship, our past emotions.
Yeah.
But don't let this emotion mixed with our daily emotion and with the future emotions. So that's why it's important in the virtual space to really create space for the past, but to keep a lot of space for the new. See, also, if you go on your mobile, you will see there is plenty of pictures that honestly they are useless, and basically they also take a lot of your time when you go through and you maybe want to see a picture related to your last holidays. So you need to spend like 3-4 minutes before getting it. So if we start a nice decluttering way of our virtual space, first of all, we save time.
Okay.
And sometimes also money. Because,
time is money.
Time is money. And we can really move on with a fresh vibration, which is essential, I honestly believe. And Feng Shui, it's also a tool that can use to implement and increase our vibration, and we can be more open towards the future. When we feel more light, we will get more inspiration.
And like you mentioned previously about the photos and keeping things related to our memories in our physical spaces, I feel that it's quite similar when it comes to virtual spaces. But most of us are not doing that for some reason. We're keeping it, as I mentioned, like under the rug. It's not seen, and it seems challenging for some reason, and it's like, where am I going to start? Am I going to start with my emails or my photos or files? And it just seems like, I think because we haven't been doing it for a long time.
So in this case, we should plan it. Like, it's definitely much easier to declutter your bedroom than to declutter your laptop or your smartphone. So we need to do it step by step. The decluttering therapy, it's basically a therapy that you should do, like on over a month, for instance. So in 1 month, you schedule like every second or third day, 2 hours to declutter a portion of your virtual life. So it comes gradually, and also it allows you to connect with this virtual stuff and to understand what is important and what is not important. Because if we are controlling our virtual life, which is pictures, smartphone, but also social media, we can manage better our daily life, and also we can implement the quality of the relationship that we keep with our virtual friends.
Yes. And I'm going back to social media, actually, and you reminded me now that you mentioned it. When it comes to, because we see a lot of content, right? So we follow people, other people are following us, etc. And, I feel that somehow whenever we're following accounts, they somehow have an impact on us. That could be positive and negative, just like our spaces. And what is that, account that I'm following? What is it bringing into my virtual life? Is it feeding into something, into my life? Is it bringing something positive, or is it toxic, or is it making me feel uncomfortable? So, and I feel like, yes, sometimes we're not really conscious about that part. And probably we need to be aware, and more, conscious about the type of content that we are consuming and the type of accounts that we're following.
Totally. This is actually a very big topic, because when you link with someone on a social media, then you will see this person almost every day. Because let's be honest, we spend a lot of time on the social. If this person is manifesting positive thoughts and positive comments and a positive perspective of life, then you pick up this positive energy, and in somehow it's affecting you in a positive way. But if this person is toxic because he's posting something that is negative and is making negative posts, or it's always talking about negative stuff, then this person is affecting you. So slowly, day after day. So from a Feng Shui perspective, it's also essential to follow and link with people that are manifesting at least the same vibration that you manifest. So never connect with people that are negative, that are always writing about in a negative perspective about things. So sometimes it's also don't connect too much with people that are posting useless stuff, because they will take maybe 5 minutes or every day from your time. Oh my God, which kind of coffee is drinking and in which restaurant it is, which is really not affecting our life. So it's essential for us to connect with people that add value to the time that we spend on social. This is really something linked with Feng Shui, but not only Feng Shui, but at our days it's so important, because our soul and our thoughts and our personal energy is affected from social. That's for sure.
Definitely. And the thing is, like, I learned to ask myself a question whenever, I'm getting into, certain, type of content. And I ask myself, if this is going to contribute to the person I'm going to become tomorrow or next year, will I like what I'm becoming? So if it's bringing something positive, it could be funny, or it could be informative or inspirational, then it's inspiring me. It's taking me in a certain direction, of being, more, having more human in my life, or learning more about certain topic. So I'm going in that direction. But if it's, like you mentioned, if it's draining my energy, or if it's feeding into my mind certain ideas that I don't really agree with, then do I want to become that type of person in a year? Because I'm going to consume that, and I'm going to become closer or have that type of mindset in the future.
Exactly.
Do I want that?
So it's we need to post consciously. We need to post always something that is vibrating with our inner soul, with our thoughts, and also we can post something that we wish to become. So I think we are creating day by day our CV on the social media, even if we probably many people, they don't even realize that. But it's an heritage. So we want to leave to our children, to our future generation, a nice, positive, image about ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's really something positive to comment always in a negative way. Better to be silent.
Yeah.
So from a Feng Shui perspective, we always want to enhance good energy, good vibration, something that is inspiring us and our circle of friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, when it comes to posting and when it comes to consuming, I think it's important. And like you mentioned that we're creating our CVs, and somehow I believe that we're creating our identities, digital identities, because this is where, sometimes when I don't post, it's been, for certain periods, I haven't been really active on social media. And then I felt like at some point that I didn't really exist on a certain dimension.
Yes.
And the moment I started posting, it's like I'm born again. And then I have these people reaching out and, and it feels like another dimension of existence,
Yes. Basically, I believe that if we are not in the social media, we lose an opportunity or we decide to be out of a certain reality.
Yeah.
So it's good to be on a social media, but let's be it in a positive way.
Yeah.
So let's create this positive virtual brand of ourselves.
Yeah.
And for sure, we will attract other positive people. So our social will be fulfilled of men and women that are sharing our thoughts, that are on the same vibration as we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the first step to declutter our virtual personality and to shape it according with the positive things.
Yeah, absolutely. And which areas do you think people mostly neglect when it comes to digital decluttering or organization?
Males, for sure. Because also on the virtual level, Feng Shui recommends always to sit properly when you send a mail and to write a mail as if it was a letter and not responding like very fast on the iPhone with plenty of grammar mistakes and so on. So I notice even on a corporate level that sometimes you have answer from from people, but they are written very fast. They don't respect any grammar. They don't respect any style. So this is also very bad. And very often people are lost in searching mails in all over, different accounts. And of course, a suggestion is to cancel the mail that are only rubbish or advertising or something useless, and try to keep the important mail, maybe to use colors, to so you can see the difference between the topics. But also when you answer to your friend or to the government or to a corporate, try to write it with some code, some graphic, use some colors, for instance. I share a tips that I do whenever I contact an important institution. I write my mail in green or blue.
Okay.
Light blue. And you know why? Because people are so used to have black and white. So when they get mail written in green, it attracts their attention.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
So on a virtual level, we can declutter, but also we can try to use all the tools that we have in order to create our position and to create our identity, to create our brand.
Yeah.
So mails are very important, and I really believe that people are totally lost.
Yeah.
Social media also, let's say that probably people they repost and something that sometimes is really not aligned with their thoughts and personality. They just do it, I don't know, because they are moved from emotions.
Right.
But then they should at least cancel it.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Once a month, go back on your Facebook and cancel if you posted something wrong. It helps always the energy to move in the right direction.
I'm thinking, like, even thinking about it now, I'm like, it will take, because I've created my account so many years ago. It's like going back into those pictures and, but the thing is that helps is that I remember I've done it at some point, and then now I feel like, oh, I don't have that much to do because I've cleaned up a lot, and so it makes it's easier going forward. But for those, I think, who haven't done it at all, yes, it's gonna require a
Yeah.
lot of work initially.
Yes,
Like,
but it's a therapy.
Yes.
It's really a therapy. So that's
Yeah.
why give them like 1 month,
Yeah.
2 months. I
Yeah.
mean, they can take but slowly they need to do that.
Yeah.
Also, your followers, your friends, sometimes we need to declutter.
Yeah.
Because we are no more aligned with those kind of people.
Yeah.
So, and also sometimes we should not necessarily accept the request of a friend that pop up after 30 years of silent if we don't feel that we are not aligned with him or her.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is, let's say, it may feels a little bit unpolited sometimes, but actually it's really good because we affirm our mentality, we affirm our soul, we affirm our identity.
Yeah. And it's somehow, I feel that that's where we need to use the word no more often, where you wouldn't accept that invitation, or you wouldn't, follow that account, or you wouldn't, it's, especially for someone who's used to be like more like of a people pleaser.
Yes.
It's a bit hard. And that's, I think, a very healthy practice where we would, something that doesn't work for us, it's distracting, or, doesn't serve us or doesn't help, then probably would be better to say no and,
Exactly, say no.
Yeah.
Because when you accept someone on your social, you share a little bit of your time and your energy with this person.
Yeah. This is for private accounts, because
Yes.
for
Of
public
course.
ones,
For
it's
public
different.
ones, it's different, but for
Yeah.
private accounts, it's like, remember that. So every time you accept someone, you follow someone, you comment someone, you share your energy. So for some people, it's very good to share their energy. For others, maybe not.
Yeah.
It depends how strong we are also.
Yeah.
Because, I think you noticed that some people, especially the one that are more, let's say, lost in life, they have many followers, they have many friends, and they constantly post sometimes things that are not really logic.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So our social, they reflect also our state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people actually, when they get to know someone, they'll go on their social media and see how it looks like
Exactly.
and, what kind of content they're into. And they're like, it's helping me to find out what kind of people they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you mentioned earlier about the emails, I think, like you mentioned, it's important to, have like the basic, let's say, accounts. And I remember like a friend of mine who's in the IT department, working in an IT department, mentioned that it would be best to have like one email for official correspondence, with the bank, etc., and have other emails that you could share if you register to an event or something. That one, that you're going to get the spams on that email. So you actually separate
Yes.
the serious, correspondence email address with the spams, and, that will be like easier to manage, and security-wise, it's even more secure.
Yes, and also remember that in Feng Shui, and it's also important, the first impression that you give to people.
Yeah.
So when I do Feng Shui for retails and corporate, and I study also the logo, so imagine that the mail that you give to people also give another vibration of yourself. So it's like a business card. If you have a weird, like 1, 2, 3, I'm here at a weird account, so the bank or whatever, they will have a strange feeling. If you give a very simple and clear mail linked also with your name, it looks much more professional.
Yeah.
You notice probably sometimes on the business card there is so weird mail, like it's really personal mail on the business card, which is it's a bad feeling, it's a bad image about yourself. So this is another point. So remember that sometimes our digital, again, they give a vibration of ourself.
True. And I noticed something, now just thought about it now when it comes to virtual spaces. There's something about simplicity. And I remember I've seen the management of the company Google talking about the platform and how simple they made sure it's quite simple, easy to use, and not have that much information that would distract users or clients, So, there's something about simplicity even in our...
In Feng Shui, simplicity is the best.
Yeah.
In the way we make a house, in the way we decorate a room, in the way we create our social, our emails, our website, and, everything... If it's simple, it's easier for other people to connect with us.
Yeah.
And it's simple for us to have the control of our social.
Yeah.
You see?
Actually, less is more. When
Less
you look
is
at
more.
Less is more in everything. Like even when you're, if you have a page and you have a couple of words, they would have way more impact than having, sentences and paragraphs on that website. It just won't have that impact.
Exactly, because at our days, we need to be very practical. People, they don't like to read.
Yeah.
So it's useless to send a newsletter of 10 pages when nobody will read, and it's useless to do post on the social too long because this historical moment is not supporting the reading.
Yeah.
This is a fact.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad, it's a reality.
Yeah.
So we need to go with the flow.
Yeah.
So our socials needs to be very simple, very clear, and they should catch our attention, the attention of other people, of course, but in a very simply basic way. Use colors, use some emoji, use some attractive and strong words, but be short and simple and clear.
Yeah. So can you share with us some practices, the best practices when it comes to decluttering our virtual spaces?
Yes.
And, and avoiding distractions as well.
So the virtual space, I always suggest people to make files. And I'm talking about the laptop. So with different colors. And every file should belong to a part of their life that is very important, like Dubai job, Dubai house, Dubai schools. So we immediately know that in these files, we will put all linked with our job in Dubai and not in another country, with our house in Dubai and not in our home country. And then also to find a strategy for all the documents to classify it in this file, for instance, with a date. I use very much the date, day, month, and year. So there is a kind of an historical way to classify documents. With pictures, it's important for me to create files with the moments, like it's Christmas, it's Ramadan, it's last summer holidays. So I will put all inside, or for instance, if I need to classify the picture for my job, Feng Shui bedrooms and Feng Shui living room. So this is the first, another way to have less clutter and to be faster in our job. Because if our laptop is well organized, we can also approach and move on faster in our daily life. And of course, always when I have to write a document, the title of the document should tell me exactly what it is. And maybe sometimes I add also the date. So I know, yes, 2 years ago it was this case and so on. But then the title should be very clear.
Yeah.
And sometimes also I use colors.
Yeah.
For different files, different colors. So I always try to use the yellow, which is the earth in Feng Shui, linked with house.
Okay.
The blue, which is water, I linked for everything that is moving, travel.
Okay.
Then the red, which is fire, I use for advertising.
Okay.
So green, which is wood, I use it for learning.
Okay.
And metal gray, I use it for banking and insurance.
Interesting.
So this is my Feng Shui technique to organize my files.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it comes to, I'll go back to finances.
Yes.
Which color do you use?
It's gray. Gray is metal.
Okay.
So all my gray files are linked with bank or insurance or money in general, because the finance is so money. Money it's metal.
Okay.
And in Feng Shui it's white or gray or silver.
Okay.
I like the gray because the white can be it's abused. So I use the gray, so I'm sure that is I immediately link with finance and money when I see this file.
Okay. And is there something I don't know if I heard this before, or I have this belief that naming something, the way we name certain things has an impact on us. And, and sometimes certain folders, I feel like when we organize them, like imagining that I'm organizing my mind. So certain things, for example, that meant something to me at some point and don't now, sometimes I would, name it in a way to make it clear that this, whatever's in this folder, doesn't matter to me anymore. For example, not relevant.
Okay.
So I would name it in a way that, I can, organize it in my mind in a similar manner, that this is relevant, this is important, highlighting it, in order of, in terms of priority and relevance.
Yes.
Well,
names, they play a very important role, of course, in energy.
Yeah.
So it's good that you use this technique. I suggest not to use no relevant.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's negative.
Yeah.
So maybe you can use something like past.
Yeah, I meant, when I meant that it's not relevant, I actually describe it as non-relevant. But I would name it in a way that it would reflect the fact that it's not.
Okay, perfect.
So it's like a past job, for example. Or,
perfect,
in a way that I can tell that it's, or tell myself as well, that this is not relevant for you anymore. Or better not look at it. I'm keeping it because I might need it, but it's not relevant for me. And I would name it in a way that I'll tell myself that,
Good.
And it's a reminder also.
So it's because every name has a vibration.
Right.
So if you use a name that has a vibrant and strong vibration, you feel engaged immediately. Yeah. If you use a name that is linked with the past or it's not so strong, perfect.
Yeah.
So whenever you are using something strong for you, make sure that this file you are using a lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's sleeping.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
You have a positive name, but the file is on a side.
Okay.
So when you want to use a strong name, try to use this file as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah, so basically the names that I actually, like, for example, if you have a family, for example, with your partner or family pictures, I'll call them, for example, love pictures.
Perfect.
Because they represent love.
Yes.
For example, or, the job or the business, the business folder, I'll call it success, for example, because I'm actually visualizing.
Yes.
That's what it means to me.
Yes, exactly.
I'm seeing it as my way to success.
Exactly. This is the way we should use it.
Yeah.
It's a kind of therapy as well, because every day we read these names,
Yeah.
day after day, and this positive energy, at a certain point, it will affect us.
Yeah.
So, successful jobs, perfect. This means that every time that you open your file, you attract this energy, and your subconscious is working on success.
Right.
You remember I told that you need always to sleep with a wall on the back.
Correct.
Because our subconscious will relax better.
Right.
This is exactly the same. When you open a file, successful jobs, it means you are enhancing this energy.
Interesting.
And your subconscious, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, it will work on this direction. You will feel it
Yeah.
from inside you.
Yeah.
And slowly, slowly, you will attract
Yeah.
everything
Actually,
that is linked with success.
I'll tell you something personal. My private laptop. So when I use it and I open it, like there is a picture of a really beautiful crown.
Good.
To remind myself, like to treat myself like a queen.
Exactly.
You know, and it's beautiful, and it's like an accessory that I'm getting to look at every day, and it's a reminder. It's not like, you know. And the fact that I consider myself as a queen, I consider, you know, all women and men as kings and queens. I mean, you know, but it's just a reminder for myself. When I see it, I'm like, I need to value myself. And
Exactly.
you know, and it's small.
But
small
this is
detail,
basic.
but-
This is the basic of virtual decluttering and virtual energy.
Yeah.
So if every one of us is using it, we will create a mood of happiness, of hope.
Yeah.
You know, once again, in Dubai, they are very good in doing that.
Yeah.
Because whenever you go, there are advertising that are enhancing hope, success, future, wealth. And this is really a therapy
Yeah.
for us that we live in this city.
Yeah.
Because even if we go to the supermarket, we will cross an advertising that is
happiness center.
saying, exactly, saying, you will be rich. You will own a villa on the Palm. You
Yeah.
will have $1 million on the bank account. So,
Yeah.
and this is a fantastic therapy that
Yeah.
Dubai is doing since ages, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Like you
this-
said, yeah, about naming, like Happiness Center. When I saw it the first time, when I came up with it,
Exactly.
when they came up with it, I was like, Happiness Center? What is this? Like, you know, even a ministry. There's a ministry of happiness. And it gives like, there's a message that,
Exactly. See,
you know, that
instead
we're
of
getting through it.
happiness center, they could have called it complaining center. See how different the energy is.
yeah, yeah.
See?
You wouldn't want to go there.
Exactly. Like, I will avoid it. But happiness center, already you feel happy, protect, and in a good mood.
Yeah, true.
And this is somehow it's a virtual therapy.
Yes.
That if we do it in our laptop, in our smartphone, we grow in a better way, and the
Yeah.
future looks better at least.
Yes, yeah, and we program ourselves like in a certain way that's more positive rather than, you know, being distracted with negative, you know.
Totally.
Yes. Cristiano, do you recommend any apps or, you know, tools that we can use to, you know, declutter our digital spaces?
No, I don't know any apps because
Okay.
I'm not using it, to be honest.
Okay.
I do it by myself.
Okay.
I spend a little bit of time.
Okay.
And so there are several apps, I think, on the market, but I'm not using it.
Yeah.
And just invest a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Instead of following
Wrapping
useless advertising, invest 30 minutes a day to go through and to realize what many videos also that maybe we are in a birthday, we take 20 videos, but at the end of the day, maybe one it's kind of professional, the other ones, 19 are useless, so we should cancel and to make it faster.
Yeah.
We should create a free way in our phone and laptops, not a jungle.
Yeah, true.
You
Yeah,
see?
Yeah. very
They
true.
need to help us. These little tools needs to help us.
Yeah.
So let's use them as a freeway and not as a jungle, because a jungle is stopping us and we are confused. But if it's a freeway, then we can reach faster our goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I asked you about the tools, but thinking about it now, we actually have the tools, but most of us are not really optimal, like using them the way we should, like calendars, and we have the
Yes.
folders. We have like, so many tools. Like, when you go on your Gmail, for example, there is a section where you can see the folders and, the size of the like the sizes of the folders if you want to clean up your space. So there are so many tools that we have.
Exactly. They should serve us.
Yeah.
We should not be their slave.
Yeah.
This is a very important point. Technology, I love technology. I think we are so blessed to live in an historical moment where technology is strong and powerful, but we need to use it in a proper way, in a smart way, in order to grow and not allow technology to create problems and blockages.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when it comes to toxic habits and relationships, how important are they? They're not, physical, things. They're pretty much virtual, but they do take up a lot of our time and energy, and they could be distracting as well.
Actually, in my job, I see a lot of people and a lot of couples that they have problems, or they are married, they have problems, they are engaged, they have problems, they are single, they have problems. So once again, don't start a relationship on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Many people, they tend to have discussion on WhatsApp. They tend to start a relationship on WhatsApp, to end a relationship on WhatsApp, which is totally wrong. WhatsApp, it's there to help us maybe to reach each other faster, but not to start or close a relationship. So to my clients, I always suggest look your partner, talk to your partner, sit with your partner. In this case, try to have the best Feng Shui energy around you.
Right.
In order to boost the relationship. And don't allow technology to interfere too much with your soul and your emotions. So I believe this is also another important point. I notice that also between parents and children, very often they express themselves so good on the social, but when they are sitting together at home, they don't talk.
True.
This is also something very bad. We are human beings, so we need to interact as a family, as partner, as colleagues, as friends. So this is called in Feng Shui the human chi. So this human energy, we need to work a little bit more on that. At our days, we tend to delegate a lot to a message, to a picture. No. Let's try to sit and discuss and fight and love each other, but on a physical way.
Right. Actually, it's interesting because I remember once I was talking to a friend of mine, and she had this, long distance relationship. And one of the things I realized is that when you're, the same thing with distance relationships and, and online, dating and spending time online in general. So what I noticed is that, let's say you're spending hours talking to someone virtually or online just scrolling. And then I thought, okay, if you add these hours up and you get to a point, later on in life, and you look back and you're like, what memories do I have from that time?
Exactly.
What memories do I have from one day that I spent scrolling online or talking to someone online? There are no memories. Like, when, like you mentioned, when you have a relationship with someone and you're talking to them, you're present, you're actually building a relationship. You remember how that person looked at you, or how you smiled, or how you walked, or how you bought this ice cream, or, like you build memories, even if you're sitting and just, having your pet even watching TV, there's some sort of a sensation, like you said, there's a human chi, there's something going on. But when you're just sitting on your phone, no matter what's happening, there aren't any memories as
Exactly.
such.
And remember that as human being, we can see some colors. We can smell some perfume.
Yeah.
So we can feel hot or cold. So whenever you have a physical relationship with a friend, with a partner, with your family, you also remember the smell of the room, the smell of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you can remember if it was a very hot day on the beach or a cold day up to the mountains. So these are extra information that our body will download in our soul and in our memories. That's why realistic and tangible relationships, they are getting stronger and stronger with the time. Virtual relationship, sometimes you just remember the color of your the background of the
wallpaper.
Exactly. So
And or their profile picture.
It's true. You can also express some emotion on a virtual way, but they are not so strong.
Yeah.
And we need to ground with the space and with the people. This is Feng Shui teach us. We need to be aligned with our energy. We need to be aligned with the energy of our space. We need to be aligned with the energy of the person in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and social, they are a little bit tricky on that.
Yes. Yeah. And the other part I remember I was asking earlier about relationships and toxicity in general.
Yes.
When it comes to, social environments and relationships and online, like you mentioned earlier,
Yes.
where we need to kind of, did you mention cut the cord?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes, exactly.
So cut the cord with those in a way that we don't get affected. And there is a belief, and I think Einstein said something about that at some point. I don't remember the exact quote, but it has to do with frequency. So when you're like dealing with people, we're on different frequencies. And if you're interacting with, certain situations or people on certain frequencies, you're becoming closer to that.
Yes, exactly.
So, do I like what I'm interacting with? Do I want to get closer to that frequency, or want to go higher and go into, get to the next level?
Another level.
Yes.
Let's take another example, a message. So you write a message virtually.
Yeah.
And you write a love card, a classic love card.
Yeah.
It's totally another emotion.
Yeah.
It's totally another level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, sometimes I'm wondering, like, when it was the last love card I wrote.
Yeah.
Because now it's all, I love you, I miss you.
Yeah.
But they're nice words, they express feelings. But sometimes we need something more tangible.
Yeah.
You need to go to buy a card, to write, to create like a letter, to write it properly. And, this is something that it may look a little bit old school, but actually it's something that builds a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or simply a Christmas card or a birthday card.
Yeah, true.
I mean, people, they are no more used to write birthday cards. They arrive with maybe a very nice gift and whatever, but they don't write a birthday card, which is very bad, because through a birthday card, we can transfer love and we can grow as a person, as a friend, and as a partner.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's been such a nice discussion, but however, because I have this, added a small segment where you would share a piece of advice with our viewers, and I know you did last time, but you're gonna, share another one.
But now, regarding the virtual, so I really recommend, first of all, the mails. Try to cancel the subscription or the newsletter that you don't want.
Okay.
Because the mail, it's extra energy that is on us. on a daily basis.
Right.
So this is really very important. In terms of relationship, I really push all our followers to write a card, plenty of love to their partner. And they will see how engaging it will be. So this is a homework
Yeah.
for your followers.
Yeah.
And then third, you can get the most and the last smartphone. Don't use too many apps. Keep it simple. Banking, create groups,
Yeah.
in your phone. Bank, Dubai utility, travel. So it will be easier for you to get in touch with the iPhone.
Use them, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And sometimes cancel application,
Yeah.
cancel things that you are not using, because also this is a kind of marketing strategy. Now please go on our application points, and you will, okay, I respect this is a
Yeah.
way to sell,
Yeah.
but at least choose the application that you really want
Yes.
and cancel the application that you really don't want.
Yeah.
Social media, always put a nice picture, a picture that represents yourself, and that generally, as a Feng Shui consultant, I suggest to use colors in the picture that are supporting your energy, your
Okay.
personal Chinese horoscope. But
Okay.
I cannot tell to everybody. So
Yeah.
at least a picture that is clear,
Okay.
and that it resonate with your dreams and with the image that you have about yourself. See?
Yeah.
And also, again, go back to your social, go back to the 10, 15 years ago picture that doesn't mean nothing to you. Cancel it as much as you can. And also in your social, keep sometimes a space. Don't post too much if you want to attract something new.
Okay.
Because if you constantly post, your followers will be also a little bit, they don't have any more interest on you.
Yeah.
Because of course he's posting something, what he's drinking, what he's eating, and so on. So try to become a little bit more conscious. Every post, study it.
Yeah.
Think which impact will have on your social life. Because these are all vibrations that you attract.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could be positive or negative. And sometimes
Exactly.
there's a saying that it's a way to express oneself. So it's okay, but like I think I mentioned earlier, sometimes less is more.
Exactly. Less is more. In Feng Shui, this is like very important. Less is more. Also, it's not necessary that we share every single emotion that we feel in a day.
Yeah.
Because we can give an impression of being weak. Because being a strong and a settled person means also being smart enough to control and to manage the emotions.
Right.
Good emotion and bad emotions.
Right.
Sometimes I have the feeling that people are using social as a vomiting basket. So I'm very sorry for using these bad words. But no, let's use social as something to enhance our energy, to represent yourself,
Yeah.
like a business card.
Yeah, to elevate.
Exactly, not a trash bin.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So, and slowly, our personal energy will grow. And we will grow in our self-esteem as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And being conscious about what we consume, I think that's quite important.
Exactly.
as well.
And what we read, what we see.
Yeah.
And, I know that it's a very tragic historical moment for many people. So for myself, I go sometimes through very sad post and picture, which is reality.
Yeah.
But we need also to help this situation to be positive.
Yeah.
And to spread a positive and fulfilling feelings
Yeah.
around us.
Yeah. Well,
So we have a
yes.
lot of work for the next
Still.
week, I feel.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us again.
Thank you so
Cristiano.
much.
Yeah.
You are the queen of the podcast. So
Thank you so much.
I feel so honored and
Yeah,
grateful.
Thank you so much. It's
You
an
have a
honor to have
very
you
good
again.
staff that is
Yes.
working with you, and I really thank you again for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm honored to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and see you again soon.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Take care. Thank you so much for listening. This was Inside and Out with your host, Inara. Until next time, stay blessed.